Okay, so today I want to talk a little bit about the victims. What makes an ideal target for senior or elder predatory men? Who are their victims? Okay, well, as I've already stated many times, these men are actively targeting an age demographic in which these girls or developing young adults are at a transitional phase in their lives between their adolescence, their formative years, and the years in which they are developing into emotionally stable, mature adults, which, by the way, doesn't just occur the day that they turn 18. That is a societal construct, a bureaucratic paradigm. It is between the ages of 16 and 30 and possibly beyond, a period in their lives in which they are realistically still emotionally developing young people, but more importantly, and in essence, much easier to subjugate than women of their own advanced age, who, by the way, are notably absent from the lives of these elder men. And why is that? Why are they not relating to him? And why is he not relating to them? It is because at this point in their emotional development, these women are emotionally developed, stable, mature adults who have more cumulative life experience and know better than to be putting up with the sex drives of these unstable men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and will simply not tolerate their evidently immature and unstable behaviors. Okay, well, I'm going to offend some young women with this video, but I'm always going to offend people with the comments that I make, and I'm really not going to apologize for this, because I'm ultimately a logical person who uses factual evidence to give veracity to anything that I claim. For example, if you're a 20-year-old female and you're in a romantic relationship with a 50-year-old male, and you're going to say to me, well, I'm in love, you cannot help who you fall in love with. Yeah, I'm sorry, you cannot use that argument, because love is a concept, an illogical one at that. There is no such thing as love, true love, soulmates. It doesn't exist, but what does exist is a healthy, stable, functioning relationship. Regardless of your emotional attachment to somebody, if you know that it is wrong, if you know that it's unhealthy, that it's a toxic relationship, you make the adult decision to walk away from that relationship. Which just goes to prove that within this relationship, with a 20, 30, possibly even 40-year age disparity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. If you just take one step back, reassess the situation you're in, reevaluate yourself, you will come to the conclusion that yes, objectively, this is an unhealthy, imbalanced, toxic relationship dynamic. Ultimately, this is not good for me, and I need to make the responsible adult decision to walk away from this relationship. But to just say, well, we're in love, what can you do? Yeah, that's just immaturity and further proof that this man is exploiting you. Believe it or not, I myself, I'm in love with somebody. I know the feeling that you currently perceive to be feeling, but I'm ultimately stable enough to be able to regulate my own emotions and come to the logical conclusion that in reality it is the fact that I'm in love with the idea of somebody. I'm chasing a feeling, and if I allow myself to succumb to that feeling, I am no longer responsible for my own happiness. I am in essence becoming emotionally dependent on somebody else to be responsible for my happiness, and this is fundamentally wrong, because you cannot control people. The only thing that is in your control is yourself. That person could leave you one day, and given that people are ultimately selfish by nature, they probably will leave you, and then where will you be? Or they could simply die one day whilst crossing the road. When all is said and done, I know the person that I personally have an emotional attachment to. She is not a good person. She is not stable. She is toxic. She's ultimately just a terrible human being, and I am better than that. I'm not going to be somebody's psychiatrist. I should be their equal. So, whilst it hurts, you have to make the rational decision to extricate yourself from an unhealthy, exploitative relationship. It hurts a smackhead to withdraw from heroin, but ultimately, they know that isolating themselves and being locked in a cupboard is the best thing for them. And just lastly, I have dated girls who are like 5, 6, 7, 8 years my junior. I'm 30 years of age now, and I have dated girls who are in their early 20s, and it just does not work. Why does it not work? Because I simply do not relate to them emotionally. They're at a completely different stage in their emotional development, because between the ages of 16 and 30, 5 years, just 5 years, is a lot of life experience and subsequent emotional development. We may be able to relate intellectually, we may be at similar stages in our lives, but ultimately, on an emotional level, we just do not relate. So justify the gap between somebody who is 20 years of age and 50, or 25 and 65. As I've explained in all of my videos, it is not a genuine emotional connection. It is a connection that has been forged by this elder predatory male to justify his being in a relationship with you, romantic relationship with you. And if you do relate on an intellectual level, perhaps you're a 26-year-old academic and you're in a relationship with a 60-year-old male, perhaps you're relating intellectually. That's fine. That's great. But ultimately, you should not be in a romantic relationship, because a romantic relationship is fundamentally built on an emotional connection, which is by definition like a mutual understanding of each other's emotions. You relate emotionally. How can a 60-year-old man relate emotionally to a developing young female in her 20s? It's just impossible. He is either placating you, or he somehow does relate emotionally, in which case, for his age, he is emotionally regressive, he is underdeveloped, ultimately he's unstable, which at his age there's no excuse for. It makes him dangerous. Whereas because you're in your teens or 20s, being unstable, this is fine, it's inherent with your age. Do you see the difference here? You are not dangerous for being unstable in your teens and 20s, whereas if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're mentally unstable, you're unequivocally dangerous by being in a relationship with somebody who is a teenager or a developing young woman in their 20s.